Okay, I call the meeting to order. First thing we need to address is the agenda approval. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion we approve the agenda.
Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so moved. All right, minutes. You should have received the minutes via email from Christy. Does anyone have any changes or corrections? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Did you get those, Christy? Mike was the...
Yes, make a motion to accept Mike and a second from Bill.
Okay, perfect. Okay, now Christy, we're on program update. Oh, I'm sorry, we got to vote. All in favor? Okay, no opposition.
Now you're up.
Okay, I'm going to start with really good news that I think that our program numbers are trending up in general. I keep a spreadsheet of our activities in our program. Now, mind you, things like concerts are eyeball guesstimate of the number of people, but that's the way I do it every time. So that would be consistent over the years. But we went from over 8,000 program participants in fiscal year 21-22 to over 11,500 with the ending June 30 last year. And the concert season ended with great feedback on the performance, and I'd like to thank you all for your hard work in selling tickets and t-shirts, especially since I could not be there to help participate.
It was our pleasure, and that was the biggest crowd I think I can remember seeing this past Sunday. Don't y'all agree? It was one of the biggest.
It was a good size crowd, and they stayed the whole time.
Yeah, the band was outstanding. Matt said we need this one for closing up the season every year.
Yeah, they were good.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I'm just, hey Keith, if you can talk a little bit more in your microphone for me, so that I can capture your comments when you talk. It's further, and for some reason I can't hear you as well. But Sailfish Park Master Plan, the update on that is that David and I met with the consultants, McGill. They're close to finalizing the draft documents for public presentation of alternatives, but we are having them wait on us to give them information regarding restroom specifications because we have an architect that's working on restroom specifications for some of our ADA areas that we're addressing at beach accesses, and we're trying to make an overall restroom plan for the island that incorporates the same design or similar design. So we've asked them to wait to incorporate that until we have those specs finalized and the board reviews those. And we should have those specs shortly. We met with that architect week before last on Friday, and he got the thumbs up from us as planning for what he was presenting. So far, he has to finalize it and get an engineer's approval, and then we would be ready to move forward with those. The beach ranger season ended Monday with the 4 rangers we discussed that would be remaining for the last month. They did a great job and really pulled through for the town. Couldn't be prouder of their efforts. I wanted to let you know that you guys probably saw it on the blast, but the town will host a lunch and learn with Dr. Joseph Richer from Novot Health Rehabilitation Services on September 20th at noon. He reached out to me and wanted to do this workshop for free. We're going to do it as a lunch and learn, whereas the town will provide the lunch if people sign up and come to the presentation. Also wanted to remind the board, because it's never too early and it'll be right after our next meeting if we meet in October, but Saturday, October 7th is going to be Run HD. You guys remember that is the big half marathon on the island. They also do a 5K and a 1 mile, but there are currently over 750 people registered. The 5K is going to start. Go ahead.
What's that date, sweetie?
October 7th.
October 7th, Saturday.
Right, okay.
And the 5K is going to start at 6:45 and the half at 7:30. So everybody should expect delays on the bridge and boulevard between 6:30 and noon.
Okay.
Where's the mile going to start, babe?
They normally start the mile kids, but there are adults that do it too, and they go down, I think, to Ferry and curve back.
Are you looking for some of us to volunteer?
Normally they have enough volunteers, and so you should be good with that. I just wanted to kind of let you know that as you guys see, we'll make announcements probably the week before so that it's fresh on everybody's mind. But I know that people have to get off the island sometimes to go places, and I wanted to make you aware of that happening and the delays on the boulevard.
Okay. I didn't get the,
Normally they take the Ocean Boulevard down to one lane and have a pilot car down to High Point Street.
Yeah, it usually goes to High Point and that's it.
what was the date for that luncheon, Lauren? I'm just not doing real well with my notes today.
Did you say the date, Suzanne?
For the lunch and learn.
Lunch and Learn September 20th at noon.
Is that here at Town Hall?
It is.
Okay. Volunteer luncheon, you've sent the information out on that.
I did, and that will be October 19th, and if everybody can RSVP to me, each of the county employees that are in charge of a board, that are the secretaries to the board, are supposed to send it to their people, so I sent the announcement out to our department heads to send to their people, and you guys are directly to me, so you should have gotten an individual invite from me. And I've heard from a couple of you already.
And I'll be out of town.
And I'll have to wait till closer to the time.
The only other thing that I have that you guys probably saw in the last two, but I wanted to make you aware that the town's going to be offering shag lessons in October. Chuck Boney, that comes to the concerts and was real big in the Brunswick County Shag Association, is going to teach those classes with his wife. Lessons are set to begin October 11th, which is a Wednesday, and then for the first week, and then they're going to move to Thursday for the next 5 weeks after that. He likes Thursdays, that he's finishing a segment in Southport the first week. So October 11th will be a Wednesday, and then after that week we're moving to Thursdays, and 6 weeks total, $60 per person, and we're running a beginner's class from 6 to 7 p.m. and intermediate from 7 to 8.
When will you make that public?
We did.
Oh, okay.
It came out about 2 weeks ago in a blast.
Okay.
It said an interest list, if you were interested, but the actual details, as people responded that they were interested, I've been giving them the details, when the start date is and the time. So, if you're interested, if you just want to get up with me.
Okay.
Yeah, just to make things lighter on you, Christy, is there not a way that you can just, when you do those blasts, just say, contact town hall at da-da-da, and let the people at the front desk have that information? I just feel like you get overwhelmed sometimes with those kind of calls.
We will, I am trying the email system.
Okay.
We had an issue with the phone system where calls were getting transferred to me, but we actually had APMC look into it. They were going to a random box and I was never getting them, and that made me very nervous.
Wow.
So the people at the front desk do get the blast when they come out, so if people have a general question, they can answer it, like if they got confused or they want more information, they have what Heather sends to the public.
Okay.
But right now, I'm trying email to me as the one. And it is very time consuming, but I feel most confident about that because when we were doing the summer picnic, I panicked when I didn't know if I was going to have 15 people or 50 people that may have gone to cyberspace.
Okay.
And looking at that same event next year, because we didn't meet, right before that, we had canceled the meeting. Maybe we can establish that date and we can know it maybe 2 months out, so we can, when the blast comes out, we can kind of encourage our neighbors to attend. It was a lovely function, but poorly attended, so I would love for us to be able to promote that.
That's all I have. I'll entertain anything that you guys have that's related to, we haven't picked a program update discussion. The program is pretty broad, so.
Yeah.
You had pickleball, I was on one of those announcements. Do you want to reiterate that? The pickleball lessons?
Pickleball lessons?
You had that.
Yes, I forgot to include that. They are starting, they had, what they called, an okay sign up, and it was, that we moved it back for 2 weeks to allow more people to sign up, and it will take me a minute to look up that class to give you the exact date.
Okay.
Give me just a second.
Yeah, and after you look that up, I don't know who counted the money boxes, but do you have a total of what we made on Sunday night between the 50/50? I know it was a little less than 500 on both 50/50 and T-shirts. And maybe just address, you and I had the conversation about what you plan to do with the remaining T-shirts. Because I think that the discussion was maybe we could sell them at festival. And you and I had I'd kind of put that out there to you, but you've got another plan.
Yes. My computer has frozen, and my phone is down there with you guys, so I can't answer your pickleball question at the moment. But I will tell you that Heather sent out a blast, and if you look for Town of Holden Beach and pickleball specifically in your search, it'll tell you when those are starting in September. And to answer your second question, I text Fordham about the 50/50, and I was thinking, and again, since I text, it's on my phone down there, but I was thinking she said, like 534 for the 50/50. And then I just put your text on T-shirts, so I did not follow up when she turned it in and it was counted downstairs.
Okay.
A little over 5.
And then for T-shirts, as far as a plan, I want to use the remaining T-shirts as giveaways for the turkey drop, which I always do on Thanksgiving Day.
That's a great idea.
And can you give all the town employees one?
Yes. I will tell you that Public Works, some of them already have theirs because we had a incident where they got into a sewer issue and they needed clothes. So some of the Public Works already have theirs. Yes, we just make sure that any town employee that doesn't have one can get one.
They need two, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they deserve 2.
Well, and I think that we did a good job selling the number that we did, but then again, it got dark on us. I think if we'd have hung in there another few minutes as people were leaving, we could have, but we kept trying to close 50/50 out, and we just kept trying to close the T-shirts out, and every time we thought we had it counted, somebody came up and wanted some more. I do want to give accolades to Keith and his daughters.
Amen.
I don't know what we've done without the 4 of them, but specifically his 3 girls. And it was really cute because some of them just wanted to buy from the girls. They didn't want to buy from
That's
the
right.
just the
They
girls.
did.
They're like, oh, we just want it. So they were really, as they have. And I know they'll be in school on the volunteer luncheon day. I would assume they're still in school at lunchtime on that Thursday, Keith. But I would love for us to acknowledge them at that time when you do your announcements or whatever, because I've never seen youth come to that level of volunteering in my years, that is.
Good deal.
He told me 5 for their family, so I'm thinking he's gonna let them skip school that day.
Yeah, we'll make sure they're there.
Yeah.
They enjoy doing it, and so it's like I tell everybody, they don't take sides, they take over.
Yeah, they do. and actually, they talked Mac into buying them another T-shirt. So, well, not really. It was a long story. We'll share that later. But somebody made a contribution and said, give the t-shirt away, and then the other two looked like, well, what about us?
Yeah.
So Matt took care of them.
Oh.
It was sweet. They were precious, and I think they enjoyed it. And we worked Keith. We didn't let him have one of the girls to help him. We put him in the heat by himself.
Yeah.
But it was a huge team effort, and I was just so pleased. Okay, anybody got anything else on events upcoming or the other? Okay, what is the date?
Halloween.
The Halloween? Are we doing a fall theme?
I'm still trying to figure out Halloween. I've looked at it and it falls so that
Festival.
the festival is the last full weekend in October, and that always makes it tough.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that'll be when I would want to do something. We've tried things on Halloween night here, and they haven't been well attended,
No.
but I'm still
We've
trying
done
to wrap
that
my
before.
mind around what I'm going to do for Halloween.
What time
And
does
I'll get it out to you, hopefully before your next meeting.
what time does the festival stop?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock.
So,
Do they stop at 5 o'clock on Saturday as well?
yeah.
It's Saturday.
No, I think they have concerts every night.
No, they do a street dance
They do a
on
street
Saturday
dance.
night.
Yeah.
Oh,
something,
okay.
yeah.
Well, could you couple it with that? Adults go to street dance and the kids go to a trick or treat thing?
Trunk or treat.
Trunk or treat?
That's what we did last year.
Yeah. Maybe do it in the park or something. Or something.
They do their own trick or treat thing.
Oh, okay.
And so I would probably say I've tried to incorporate with that before, and it just hasn't been as successful as when we do something different. So
Okay.
We've done it in
I'll
different
still
nights.
think about it, but I'm trying to come up with a plan.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of cute ideas out of New Hanover County as far as like zombie walks and monster this and monster that. So I may have something where we kind of do a little miniature walk and then have a costume contest or that kind of thing. I'm gonna figure it out. I'll get back to you guys.
I don't know if this might help you, but several years ago when we were in Kentucky, we had a Monster Mash. It actually, for the corporation, it was a fundraising marathon, but it was where kids and parents ran together, and they dressed up like Halloween costumes and stuff like that. They call it a Monster Mash. So
Yeah, and I really liked it when, that's a good idea, and I really liked it when we did, Boo at the Beach
Mm-hmm.
for several years. That was probably before y'all moved here, Keith, but for several
Yeah.
years, we had the businesses and the town, and we would all do booths up on George Boulevard, and booths consisted of tents, and everybody had a different carnival game, and we compete for best booth.
I still have mine. I still have two containers full of stuff.
Yeah, you did the spider game.
Yep.
And so I want to get back to that, but we really need a Saturday to do that.
It's
on
just not
Friday
good when
night
it falls
for
on-
it to be
yeah,
willing
it's not
to
good
do
when it
it.
falls on
So
Halloween,
We're
yeah.
running into that problem.
yeah. Now if you already have an event, there's no sense trying to compete with it when you have a full day.
The Boo at the Beach was great.
Just because I have to plan ahead, the tree lighting is always the first weekend in December.
Typically.
Yes.
So it's always the weekend after Thanksgiving.
Yes, and we fluctuated back and forth between, it was always the first Thursday, and then we went to the first Friday, and then we started competing with area people like Charlotte. So I honestly, without looking back, can't remember if we went back to Thursday last year. I think we did.
We did.
Or whether we stuck with Friday.
No, we went Thursday.
You know what it always conflicts with for me, but we got enough people to handle it. Okay, and we have a lot of people that are on the board that are willing to step up as well. The only other thing, do y'all have anything else, questions about any of our initiatives or anything?
I just have one question. So in the future, when we come back up, I guess next year for budget term, if there's something in the master plan that we want to suggest a change to, how would we go about doing that? In other words, do we just go, yay, we want to do it, no, we don't want to do it, or is there discussion on that? I mean, I know if it's in the master plan, it's kind of already there, but if we want to tweak that, is that allowable?
The answer to that is we could choose not, the plan would still, with what the consultants recommended for that budget year would still be valid.
Yeah.
But the board gives a list of their priorities, so they can choose that they didn't want that as a priority. If you're specifically asking about Selfish Park with your question and you just didn't want to ask that out loud, I don't think you need to worry about what's in that plan.
Well, the Selfish Park, it was in the back of my mind, but that, I guess that brought it to light, but in the future, I mean, I'm selfish is selfish, but in the future, how would we go about making that adjustment, or just, do we have to just wait till the next master plan comes out? And so is there any ability to, is it either yes or no, or is it,
All or none.
it's all or none?
No, that's what I'm
Oh,
asking.
yeah, is it all or none, or can we make modifications in our recommendations?
No, what we did last year is that in like the January, February timeframe, I directed you guys to your master plans or the 5 hard copies, and we looked at what was recommended for the budget year that followed, because we'll start having our budget meetings in like February or March.
Right.
And you guys rated what you wanted to put forward and what you thought could wait.
Okay.
So some of the things that were listed for this year was not put forward because we had other priorities that we had to accomplish. In fact, a lot of what was listed for this year was not put forward. So you would have a chance to go back and revisit what was not done this year, as well as consider what you might want to delay or push to the right for the next year. And then by the time we get to 2025, we'll be planning or budgeting for a new master plan.
So if we want to make any adjustments or modify recommendations to the master plan, we would do that during the January, February timeline? Or January, February
Right.
meetings? Okay.
So, and I need clarification too. And I will say selfish, for example. If we wanted to budget for partially doing what's in that plan versus all that's in that plan, we don't have to do all or nothing, do we? Can't we piecemeal some of it?
Well, I think what I want to talk about is priorities versus plans, because I don't want to lead you guys in the wrong direction with my answer.
Okay.
So the Board of Commissioners have adopted that 2021 master plan as the plan. So you guys cannot override that plan and say that that's no longer a priority or a plan. But what you can do is at our regularly scheduled meeting in January, February, where we pick this up and put budget items for consideration, you can choose to go back and look at previous things from this year that were not funded, or you can look at not doing things in the next year that would be under that plan, or moving it however many years to the right that you want to do. And it may be that something's never accomplished. It may be that that item is pushed so far over that it's never accomplished and reevaluated in a future plan. But
Okay.
you can't, and the reason I go back to the selfish answer is, before we meet in January and February, the Board of Commissioners will have considered the site master plan for Selfish. And if they adopt the master plan, that doesn't mean that they're funding it at that point in time. But if they adopt the master plan and say, this is going to be the plan, you guys can't then say, that's not the plan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you could say, if they adopt the plan and let's just say that they have 3 things in it, you could put forward to fund partially of that, but you can't say that's not the plan anymore.
Right.
Does that answer your question?
So we can't add or we can't delete from the plan purposely, but we can look at a large project And if we had to fund it over a period of time, we could do that, or ask for funding over a period of time.
Right, you can move sections over.
Okay.
For example, we accomplished everything in the first year to my best recollection without having the plan in front of me when we started, except that we didn't get the handicap parking at Holden finished until this year. So you can tackle something at the park without going the full way in. But you can't say we're no longer going to do this because then the board would have made that a priority and you can't override the board.
Okay. Another item, Christie, I went by last night or the day before yesterday, 796 OBW was looking good from the street. What is the plan at this point in time? Is it just fixed and sitting there, or is there a plan to rent it next spring, or what is the plan?
I can't comment on that. That's the board of commissioners in their court sort of thing.
So really, all they did at this
There
point,
was a comment by a commissioner, but that's just one commissioner at a recent board meeting that now that it was fixed up, it should be rented. But that's just one person's comment, so that can't be taken as what's going to happen.
okay.
We have not, as staff, we've not been given a direction.
So the board voted to do the renovations and to do the upgrades as far as what they had to do with AC and all that. But that's all that's been approved. So the next step would be the board would have to decide the usage, correct? Not one person, but
Yes.
the board. All right.
Yes.
They hadn't voted yet.
Is that something that'll come back to us for recommendation, or they just handle that by themselves now?
That ball was completely in their court.
Okay.
Because they asked, and I want us to be careful with this one because 796 is a facility and not a program. So we're kind of teetering off of the agenda. But 796,
Okay.
the rec board gave a recommendation of what should happen as being a community rec center. It went to the board. There was a plan that was drawn up by our architects, the same one that's doing the bathroom design. They did not accept the plan to move forward at this time based on funding, so that falls in their court to pick up.
So basically, at this time, it's not a facility that we can have a program at.
Correct.
Do you know, speaking about facilities, do you know if there's a plan for Parks and Recs to have any programs or functions at the pier? I know that we're probably a year or two off of that, but is there any talks and having programs or something going on there from the Parks and Recs department?
The talk so far has been about things like outdoor concerts in the concessions area, and other than that, there's not been a programming space made available in the current master plan that the board approved.
So the master plan did address the fact that if, because it was before they bought the pier, the town bought the pier, if the town bought the pier, that it could possibly be used for activities, but it was kind of if, right?
The master plan that's been approved is to your right, I believe, on the floor. And to my knowledge, that plan has a concession area, a bait and tackle area, a t-shirt area, and an ice cream shop.
Oh, okay. So no meeting spaces at this point. Mike's getting ready to pick one up, and we're going to look at it. Okay. All right. Anything else? Keith's got one more.
One more thing about the pier. So, should we be thinking about that? I'm thinking like some sort of fishing activity or some sort of event, like you said, maybe a concert or something like that. Should we be putting something together, or is that too premature at this point?
It's probably too premature, but you're on the right track with things like take a kid fishing bowling or
Right.
kids fishing derbies and that kind of thing. I'm familiar with those from my work at Oak Island with their peers.
Yeah. So, is there a way for us to ask the board if there will be a place for that, and if so, what should be a target date for us to have something in place so we can prepare for that?
I think, well, you can ask the board anything you want in public comment as a public citizen.
Right.
But it's my understanding that they've adopted that plan that I mentioned to the side there, the way it is. This year, the budget is for the pier proper itself, so the pier structure, and then the building would come along in funding for next year.
Right.
So if you were to, they would have to change their approved site plan. And you would have to argue your point during public comment.
Well, based on that, and that's my understanding as well as far as the next year or two, what's going to happen. So if the pier, once it's open, or do we wait until it's actually open to develop a plan to use it, or can we go ahead and develop and when I say that, it's just, a fishing tournament or a kid, daddy-daughter date, whatever the case may be, where we can utilize the pier for something like that? Should we just wait till it's open, or can we be proactive and say, here's some ideas and flesh through those?
I think that as you get into next budget year, when they actually take up the construction to make sure that occurs, that you are fine to program things for like the pier, or if there's something that would work in the spaces that are approved there for that. But I guess my hesitancy is that I've seen boards work on plans and put a lot of effort into it, and then it didn't mesh with the final plan, and I would hate for you guys to put efforts in and feel like you were butting your head against the wall at the end.
Okay.
But I do plan for us to do things once the pier opens itself, like the fishing tournaments that I mentioned.
Okay.
So you said the next plan would be 24-25 school year, 24-25 year?
The $1 million was in this year for the pier proper itself, or the pier structure, to get it open and to go through the center of the building to do that. So basically, it would just be a corridor through the center of the building that got you out to the pier that was ADA compliant and repairing the things on the pier. The next fiscal year is when they were going to look at doing the building itself, based on this year's budget discussion.
Okay. All right. Any other, we just need to, if we can have casual conversations as homeowners, I think we're at liberty to do that at any time, correct? Not as board members, but as homeowners.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, one other thing that was mentioned, and I mentioned it to you on a one-on-one basis, but kind of wanted to see how the other members that are here might feel about it, was the hours of the splash pad. And for those of you that don't know, I was approached, and I know if you figure out how much money that was budgeted for the water, for the splash pad for the whole season, it's kind of minimal in the scheme of things. But I was approached that we open the splash pad earlier in the day, because the heat of the day is just so hard on those children, or even expand them for those that have children that get up at 6 o'clock and they're trying to entertain them until beach time or whatever. Is there a way? I know that we've already put in for the funding for next year, but is there any way we can shift and perhaps open an hour earlier, or do something to accommodate the parents that have expressed an interest?
We can look at that. I can look at that internally. I can get a report on what our water usage was so far, because the season actually ends this week, and then look and see what was budgeted and what's left to get us through. It doesn't open until Memorial Day week. anyway, or normally we do it a few days before Memorial Day as a test run to make sure everything is good to go. And so we would, only have about 5 weeks that we would have to worry about, so we can look at doing that.
Oh, okay.
So, next question is, beachfront's really not our, well, it kind of is. But beach rangers, I know, doesn't fall under our anything. But there have been a lot of concern about, I know that Fordham shared with us at the concert at the first hour on Sunday morning, she filled up 17 holes. And I could tell she was very overwhelmed by that. And then I know, there was one so large that another beach ranger had to call on somebody from the town to help. Is there a way that when you look at that in the future that a plow or a shovel or something can be put on those gators? Because, if we're going to attract old people, old people will do what they can physically, but I think it limits who, when word gets out that you're expected to fill 30 holes in a day, and the way the rangers run, people can have been told to fill them in, but the rangers have already gone to the other end, and their shift is over. So just food for thought for another year with those. I think the holes is becoming a bigger and bigger issue, right?
Yeah.
I'm waiting for somebody to speak up.
The
Absolutely.
holes are the issue.
Yeah.
I run the spreadsheet on that too, and I just finished the spreadsheet for the year. And the adults are not the issue, the holes are the issue. And I think that entire program is going to need to have a hard look at it. We do provide shovels for them and rakes on the vehicles. But it's like 5 to 1, old adults, and the adults count even when it is service animals, which we can't do anything about.
Right. Well, and when I was talking about shovel, I didn't mean a manual shovel. I was thinking if there was any kind of attachment to the gator,
Let's put a blade on
like
it.
a
like a
blade
blade.
or something. I don't know.
I think that
We-
opens your liability.
we
They
rent-
hit somebody in that blade.
Well, we rent them anyhow, so I didn't know if there would be another option. But that's your bailiwick. I just wanted to mention it's becoming more and more of a concern. As you know, because you've done your spreadsheet.
Maybe we can have a hole patrol.
Well,
patrol.
they are, my understanding is they are a hole patrol, and they
Yeah.
write down the home address or the address of where they see the hole, but I don't think there's any follow through and it doesn't get filled up. And what I was hearing was there were holes first thing Sunday morning that were never covered up on Saturday afternoon. So you talk to your rangers.
They put on their forms they turn back in, and actually, many of them are filled in when they ask them based on their reports. I know there are bad days, and I know Fort Fordham got the brunt of it. I know that there were some days that she filled in over 30 based on her log. But I don't know. That one's gonna have to take some serious thought before next season. But I agree, Keith. I have picked up the moniker Hole Patrol, and I've threatened to put that on t-shirts.
Well, and the other thing too is, and I know it was only because you were out, and I know that you would have been in every one of those public accesses checking things out after the storm, but I know Fordham was talking about there was a washout of soil under one of the mats down at the 1000 West End, and I think she had to spend a lot of time trying to, because someone had fallen the day before, she said, and that she had to spend a lot of time trying to fill in that gap of where the mat was, but there was no dirt underneath. And I know that you are out there checking all that stuff after a king tide and after storms, but again, I don't know if you have heard that or not.
Yes, she reported that on her blog.
Okay. All right, well, we've asked a million questions. Does anybody
I got
have?
one more.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mike's got one.
Christie, I noticed they were surveying those lots beside the pier, and I was just wondering about the Hatteras ramp, if there was a timeline since our access is on the other end of those lots, if there was a timeline on when the Hatteras ramp may be installed.
Yeah, quick, fast, and in a hurry. I know we're on a timeline for that more than anything else. We have
Right.
been waiting. We're required to have engineered drawings for that.
Right.
And so we've been waiting for those drawings from the group that is doing the entire site. But we have met with them and we're really close to being able to take those and go out for bid. Because we were waiting for those, there's some stuff that we actually just had this discussion today. That, Tim and David and I have been working on with ADA access, beach access.
Right.
In the meantime, and we're finishing some of those projects, and the plan is to move to the Hatteras ramp next. But we're under an 18-month time clock that began back in like,
January. wasn't it?
I want to say November-ish. I brought it up at several of the meetings. It's not in front of me, so
Right.
we're going to move on that pretty fast, probably before you see the movement on the pure proper. Just because those will require more expensive, even though that is moving forward, I don't want to make you think it's not. That'll require a little more back and forth with the architect itself, where once we have the engineered drawings, the building inspector and I can put those bids out on the street for people contractors to apply.
Okay.
Has the county permit been approved?
Yes.
I will say that the handicap parking that they've repaired, they've redone, the three, they've done a really good job on it. They've done a good job on it.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, anybody got anything else at all? All right, Christy, we hope that you're back face to face with us pretty soon, and we don't have anyone from the public, so we have no public comments, and I don't think anyone else has any questions or concerns. So that being said, I will ask for a motion to close the meeting. Adjourn.
Motion?
Motion. Second. All approved? Aye. Meeting adjourned.